Welcome back to Town Talk with Town Square Buzz. Today we are talking again with Dick Stevens, who is running for McKinney Independent School District Board of Trustees, Place 4. Dick, thanks again. You have given us a lot of time and great answers that are important for our readers to understand some of what's going on within our school district. Of course, you have been involved, you're the incumbent, and so you know what's going on from that perspective. As we move forward, we've talked about everything from budget to the bond issue, and you and I, just in conversation, you were mentioning the No Child Left Behind initiative. And you mentioned that all the school districts are facing difficult times in that regard. Would you like to expound on that a little bit?
Yeah. And that was, created back during George Bush's administration, and I'm sure when they created it, they had all great intentions. But by 2014, every school in America, every school district in America, has to have a 100% success rate on state tests, our tax tests and other people's tests. And now they're creating, on top of that, the Obama administration is spending $380 million to create a national test that would be used for all students to take. And the problem is that we in Texas, and specifically in McKinney, we choose to educate, and often told to educate, new students of this country. Many students might only been here since Christmas, might not have been here since the first of the year, but they have to take the same test that every other student in the district and the state have to take. And it's not fair when they come down and say, well, Texas doesn't do as well and blah blah blah, when the kids up there, they just don't have the same challenges as we do. Yet our funding by the federal government is in fact, I will tell you, that's their new deal up there, is grants. And they're giving out grants based on the success of all these tests. And it's just not right to keep sending down these mandates and then expecting us to fulfill them when it's not equal. We need to be able to control and educate our kids the way we need to in McKinney, with the state's participation and partnership. And that's been a good partnership in the past until a lot of these mandates coming down that's forcing the state, because the state gets money that way. And so but it's just, like I say, we've lost control of our schools, of what we in McKinney, how we feel like we should be educating our kids, and what we consider successes and failures. I mean, let's be honest, we've got an unbelievable record in tax scores, high. But on top of that, we have a situation where we've got kids who have only been in this country a year taking the same test as a kid that's lived here for 16 years. And so we need more. We need to be able to run our own schools. That's the bottom line, and make those decisions.
Are you saying essentially that in some ways we in Texas and in McKinney are being penalized because we have a different population, a different makeup, and so we're not able to compete in some ways for those grants that the federal government may be handing out?
And I think there's also some politics involved, because a lot of the grants are going to big schools up north and back east. We don't have grant writers and whatnot that some of the bigger schools can afford to do. But yes, in essence, we're being penalized because, for example, right now we don't have any schools that are on the bad list, but every school district in America has to have 100% compliance to the No Child Left Behind by 2014. That in itself is impossible, because no school can get 100% compliance. And so all the school and all the meetings I've been to nationally, working on legislative action committee type stuff, is that's a huge problem. But it's more of a problem for us down here. We probably will have one school, possibly by this year and next year, that will be out of compliance. We'll probably have 2 schools after that. And by the way, they have the same problems in Plano and Allen and Frisco. I mean, this isn't just McKinney, but obviously the lower your socioeconomic or the higher the percent is, you would have more problems quicker. But every time one of those schools go on the non-compliance, it costs us money. We not only do we get less money, but we have to go out and pay for extra tutoring, extra teaching. We have to have more teachers at the school. So it penalizes districts like us, like Odessa Midland, like schools down the valley, because they're saying you have to be the same as a school in Minnesota. Or if you aren't, you've got to pay extra to bring these schools up. So is that not a penalty or not? I mean, that's money we could be using for other things. More interesting. Science labs at McKinney High School. But so over the next few years, between now and 2014, you're going to see, you're talking about earlier, a challenge. That's going to be a challenge. We're going to, all districts in Texas and Collin County are going to have to start spending more money to stay in compliance for the federal laws, mandates.
So do you think that the instituting of some of these national tests and that type of thing actually also affect our dropout rate in a negative way? Because if those children are unable to be successful with some of that testing that's brought on board or instituted from the federal level because they're not really aware of what's going on, does that affect us?
First of all, absolutely affects it, but I think it's more than anything, it's the pressure the teachers are under to make sure these kids pass the test, and then they're putting pressure on the students to pass the test. And I think there are some students out there who say, hey, why, I don't care about this test. Why, so why don't I just drop out? And when we should be educating those kids, to prepare for jobs after high school or on to college, and that's like our AVID program does. But if we have to cut AVID, which will be over my dead body this year, or hopefully, we cut AVID, then all of a sudden we have kids dropping out, and that's so it's a catch-22. They want us to improve the grades. They put pressure on it. So yeah, that some kids definitely will probably drop out, as opposed to the pressure they're going to be under to pass. And it's just not fair for a kid that's been here 1 or 2, 3 years to be expected to pass the same test as a kid that's been here his whole life.
Interesting. Okay, a little bit different subject. If you were to be reelected, why would people want to vote for Dick Stevens? What is the strength that you would bring to the school board as a team?
Well, first of all, I think the number one reason is, under the times we're in right now, this isn't the time to make changes.
Okay.
Much less lose a school board trustee that has spent the time and energy I have to be what I think, quite frankly, is one of the best school board members in North Texas. I've prepared myself to represent not only the district, but our area, to make us better. And with my finance and budget background, that's something we need right now. We don't, we need somebody with a steady hand, experience, the training, and the high energy level that I have to help the school district through its challenges for the next 3 years.
Okay. And finally, what would you like to say to our readers?
Well, we truly do have a great group of kids. Our test scores, which shouldn't be important, but are as high as any in the area. We have great programs, but what I found, I've been traveling around visiting other school districts all around the state. The number one thing, I've seen school districts that have even more challenges than us, yet they have successful programs. And you sit there and you ask them, why is this program successful? Why are you doing so well at this magnet school or this career? And it all goes back to leadership and the teachers in the classroom. It's amazing. I've seen school districts with more money than us and higher, socioeconomics, and they have problems, and it has to do with the leadership and teaching. And I promise you, this school district has some of the best leaders and teachers in the state, based on what I've seen.
Great.
Thank you so much again, Dick, for allowing us to take up some of your very valuable time. Thanks for all you've done for our school district so far, and good luck with your campaign.
Thanks again for joining us on Town Talk. If you have questions for the candidates, please post them in the comment box below our story. And don't forget, early elections begin May 2nd and run through May 10th. And election day is May 14th. Get out and vote. Make your voice heard.